Should I do the thing where you get a something stuck in somebody's head like a song? Because one of the best songs I know, because we did that last time we were doing Snoop Dogg, but I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like I feel like it'd be really funny to do another one, and the one I can think of is yeah da 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 yeah da 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 yeah da 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 yeah da 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 da. Hey, that's the one from Star Wars. You know the one I'm talking about, right? This the in the bar on Tatooine.
Okay. Hold on, I think so. I know what you're talking about.
Da 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 yeah da 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 hey yeah da 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 yeah da 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 hey.
Oh yeah, Tatooine bar music.
Yeah.
Cantina bad. Was that the
Yeah, the
Cantina bad?
cantina. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Found it! I knew it!
Yeah, da, 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 da. Yeah, da, 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 da. Oh, you're
Yep.
gonna get us copyright struck.
let
Yo.
me let me switch to this one.
Yeah. Hey. Oh. That's what I'm talking about. Did you bring alcohol for this? Because, like, I feel like you need to have some.
Really? Is it that bad? Oh my god.
Yo.
No!
Yo. Oh, hey, everybody. How's it going? What up?
Hello!
Welcome back to Dumb Fekk Friday. We are here and we are we queer? I think we're queer. Well, you know.
It's going to be fun.
Hmm.
Everybody grab every bottle of vodka that you have or
I pre-made a
alcohol.
drink for a little bit. I've got my tea already. We both woke up late today. Yo,
Yeah.
happy Pride Month. That's still going on for anybody who's doing Pride Month. I mean, I guess everybody.
Hey.
You can't just not do Pride Month. I guess it's kind of like you can't just not do Black History Month. Like,
Exactly.
it has nothing to do with whether or not you decide to participate. It just is. So happy Pride Month. And if you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah, happy Pride Month, everyone. And it's there. You can go out and celebrate and be gay and merry, as they say.
Hell yeah. I'm all about that. It looks like people got their drinks. Good, good. You're gonna need it for this. Because
I got tea.
today we are talking about Dr. Charlotte Proudman.
Okay.
I'll show you her specific thing here. Let me get my socials out of the way. Feel free to join. Should we
Yeah.
talk? How are we doing, by the way? Before we dive it too far into this, how are you, Mani?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. I'm doing well. But I have been spasming, you might say superficially or figuratively since last week, since I saw Amber Heard's interview coming out. And I was like banging my head on the wall. I was just like, this chick, oh my goodness. This is her moving on. This is her wanting Johnny Depp to leave her alone, basically. So, and yeah, going around giving interviews. And personally, I think like there's a big PR machine that's backing her. Who's spending money on this chick? Who? Elon, is it you? Are you mad?
Who is it that's like the PR firm? Because if she's hired a PR firm and this is what they're producing, you get your money back.
Because
I can do a better job than that.
yes, yes, we know you can do a better job than that.
I was up late
And
last night and I
yeah,
finally the reason I was up so late is that I finally cleared out all the dumb screenshots from Stephen Red's shit and all those dumb fucking arguments from the past like 3 years. Cause I
good.
had like basically an organized library of like
Oh
anything that
my
I needed
goodness.
for debunking any of that shit. And I was just like,
Oh my
oh,
goodness.
look at all this shit I don't need anymore. Not my problem. Woo! I finally got
Like
rid of.
Christina, woo!
There was like, yeah, there was like one or two that I kept just for the sake of like my own personal amusement, but like it was like over 1,000 some odd screenshots from like just Twitter alone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
I'm
I
glad.
don't have to deal with that anymore. Yay.
Yeah, I'm also glad to leave that behind because yeah, the amount of fucking babysitting we had to do for Steve 24/7. Now you see me, the only thing I do most of the time is either talking about the Amber Heard case at the moment, or I'll be retweeting raccoons and possums and quokkas. That's my thing. Or cats and cats and cats. I'm becoming a cat lady.
Letty in the side chat said Charlotte Proudman as opposed to Charlotte Humble Woman. And I'm like, we're as we go through this, we're gonna find out if Dr. Proudman ought to be required. She's so much of a feminist and so anti men. If she should change her last name, she can't have
Yes.
man in
That
there.
no, that's wrong. Charlotte, change your surname. Why do you have a man in your surname, girl? I thought you were a real feminist.
I always get
Traitor.
like a little bit concerned when someone calls themselves a full-time revolutionary. Like,
Mm,
who calls the history is who decides whether or not you're a revolutionary. You don't get to pick that.
no, and seriously, you have time. You're by the looks of it, you're studying part-time and you're a barrister. But who am I to judge? Maybe she's good at managing her social time. I don't.
Hey, listen, you
So
can. I'm somebody who's pretty busy, so I wear a lot of hats. But so what her Twitter says is full time feminist revolutionary, part time Cambridge academic, and barista. 110% my own views. And I always get a kick out of when people put this out here because it usually means that whatever they've got some takes that their profession would not approve of. It's generally what that
oh
means.
god,
But for anybody who doesn't know what a barista is, because I looked that up because I didn't know what it was.
sorry. I thought for one moment I thought it was a mixologist, but okay.
Yeah, like a barista, like a coffee barista. Yeah. A, a barista is a type of lawyer in common law jurisdictions. Baristas mostly specialize in courtroom advocacy and litigation. Their tasks include taking classes in superior courts and taking cases, not classes, taking cases in superior courts and tribunals, drafting legal pleadings, researching the philosophy, hypothesis, and the history of law, and giving expert legal opinions. So that's what they do.
Okay, if this is who is, and what does it say? Sorry, in the senior levels of the UK court, if this is what there is, we will see her Twitter timeline, by the way, and this is what goes on in there. I'm not surprised that Johnny Depp didn't get the verdict in his favor in UK trial because these women are out there constantly beating down upon men who claim they're victims of domestic violence or who claim they're innocent.
She wrote a
So
book
I'm not surprised.
called Female Genital Mutilation When Culture and Law Clash.
That's interesting. I wonder how which communities she has worked with in the while writing this book, because there are a lot of communities. There are African communities, and there are also Middle Eastern communities that have this tradition, and it has kind of seeped through to other communities also because of the superstition
Right.
behind women's sexuality. So I maybe I will buy that book one day and read it and see how what has she done in that field. That will be interesting. But I guess maybe that's why her views are so radical and extreme because female genital mutilation, where if you're working in that field, it can be traumatic for you.
Oh,
It can
definitely,
be
yeah.
traumatic for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe that's where she's coming from, but that's the thing. She's projecting in the wrong places at the wrong time. It's not appropriate, according to me. But we'll find out. We'll find out.
Well, you gotta
We'll see.
when you wear so many hats, you need to be
Hmm.
able to recombobulate yourself to
Hmm.
like time and place depending on what it is that whatever it is you're speaking about, right? So like
Yeah.
if you're talking about something as extreme as female genital mutilation, and then you turn to and you're focusing on like say Middle Eastern studies in that area, and then suddenly you turn around and you're looking at America, and America's sitting around getting rid of abortion rights, then I can kind of understand there being like a jump in like a reactionary kind of jump. But at the same time, you have to understand that, hey, surprise, surprise, male genital mutilation is also a thing that
A
happened
thing. Yes.
that is considered normal in Western culture. So when people
Yeah.
go like, "Oh my God,
Circumcision.
female genital mutilation is such a barbaric thing for these countries to do," you do it to men. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. And
There is her.
just because, yeah,
Mm,
just because some doctors are able to do it under anesthesia, that's still not appropriate. I think personally, to do it to a child without their consent when they're not capable of giving consent. Maybe when they grow up, you can talk to them and ask them if they want to do it.
sure.
But and even then also like, but I think so with women also it happens. It's still done forcefully with cultural pressures. So it happens to both men and women. Maybe it happens.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised if the I don't know like how much pain does male that circumcision causes the male circumcision, how much pain that causes. But yeah, to do it to a child without their consent, it's horrible.
I mean,
I
I
personally
don't
feel it's
think I don't think people should be piercing ears of children either. Let them decide if they want their ears pierced or whatever. You don't need to do it when they're a baby.
yeah,
Anyway,
like
before we go down this
yeah,
rabbit hole that we're not supposed to be going down
yeah.
right now, we got distracted
That's for some
already.
other day, guys. Some other
Another
day.
day, another day. I checked out her link here, and it basically goes to a feminism podcast, um, and it goes to Spotify called Women Now, and it's just podcast
Interesting.
Dr. Proudman and Lucia Osborne Crowley, victim blaming her Depp case, misogyny, and feminism.
Ooh. Oh my goodness, should we listen to that now? Maybe for some other day. Today we are just going through her YouTube profile, but it will be good. Shesh, if you did a segment on listening to her and commenting on that, or I could do that, or we could both do that. Have another Dumb Fact Friday.
We'll let you guys
And
vote. Leave a comment down below if you want us to listen to their goddamn
hold on,
podcast.
now let's do it more simply. Number one, if you want us to listen to Dr. Proudman's podcast about the Deppard case. Number two, if no, you don't want that, it's too much for you guys. Here we go. Let's go. One in the chat. If yes, two in the chat. If no, let us know, guys. You're already getting into the shit show. Oh my goodness.
God.
All right.
Do you people hate me? What did I ever do to you? All right. So we found Manya found her LinkedIn because of course she did. Manya's like, who is this lady and what does she do?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm just curious. This is not her. Disclaimer, please do not go to her employers or anything like that and harass them and, send false reviews or anything like that. This is me just being curious because usually people who put stuff on LinkedIn do not lie about it, especially if they're linking universities. So I'm just curious what she is talking about on LinkedIn. Me, when I was on LinkedIn, right now my profile is dormant there because of fucking trolls who are trying to go after my uni and my fucking job. So, um, when I described myself, I
Shade.
had one paragraph and that's it. Because you want to keep it short and simple, right? So that was my strategy. I'm now a Kiwi, so what do I know? So we'll see how much Dr. Proudman has spoken about herself in her about page.
Yeah,
How
so
long is it, Shesh?
uh considerably, a few paragraphs, and she talks about
Oh,
herself in
okay.
the third person.
Oh, interesting.
Charlotte is an award-winning barrister, because apparently I was pronouncing it wrong.
Barrister.
A Goldsmith Chambers and ranked as Legal 500's leading junior in family law. So she's a junior in family law.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I was thinking. Too young, I think so, yeah, to be a senior. Yeah, got it.
Well, I don't know if it's an age thing or an experience thing or like
Yeah, but age and experience, kind of goes sometimes hand in hand,
a
especially
little
in law,
bit.
I
It
guess.
it does take
Yeah.
time to get experience.
Not
That's a
all people are Camille Vasquez, just saying.
yeah. Oh, you're gonna make her jealous. Charlotte was awarded Rising Star Women Law Awards 2020 and the True Honor Award Iranian and Kurdish Women's Rights Organization. She was also shortlisted for Family Law Junior Barrister of the year 2020. Charlotte is known for her campaign work to change the law to ensure the better treatment of vulnerable women and victims of domestic abuse. Charlotte's case law record shows that she is not only a campaigner, she is able to bring about legal change, which has a significant impact on women's lives in the cases that she's instructed in and beyond. She devotes her energies to move the law's understanding of the pervasive disempowerment of victims, of survivors of abuse. Oh my god, of abuse and
Oh my God.
the harm it causes to children. If you're writing anything before you post it, please read it out loud to
Yeah,
yourself.
and read it out, yeah, from a layman's perspective and maybe use Grammarly. Use Grammarly.
Hire you
Hey,
from
Grammarly, will you
Southern
sponsor us? Look, I'm pitching for you. Sponsor us. Come on. I
sponsors.
use Grammarly actually sometimes.
Hashtag non-spons. Somebody asked, "Hi, are you from Southern Ontario?" And Stupid Whore Energy responded with, "Chesh is Southern Ontario."
Yeah, she is Southern Ontario. What are you talking about?
I have become geography. Oh boy. Okay. Combining the law with academia, Charlotte is a junior research fellow at Queen's College, Cambridge, in law and sociology, where she researches FGM law and policies in the UK. So she's a junior. I think that's what we're getting at.
Yeah, and she does research work in a specific field.
She does research work regarding like family law.
Yeah, forced genital mutilation and forced marriage and stuff.
Then there's this, which is sort of because we want to give you guys an idea. We just don't want to like randomly shit on somebody and we don't know anything about them. So we want to look to see what they had to say about themselves,
Yeah.
right? Because it's only
So
fair.
yeah, so it looks like
I don't know where she's
they
coming
have worked
from.
in the field of, yeah, family violence in some way. So in a particular field. So if she's giving an opinion, she's coming from somewhere, and she might be right in some instances. But I think so far from what I've seen is her view is very colored and she projects a lot, and she has not been able to what's the fucking word,
As an
compartmentalize.
advocate for change, Charlotte was instrumental in drafting litigation that resulted in key legislative changes, including raising the age of marriage from 16 to 18, criminalizing virginity tests, and hymenoplasty,
Oh
amendments
yeah,
to the domestic abuse bill, introducing FGM protection orders, and criminalizing forced marriage. She is a legal advisor to our Streets Now and Plan UK, a campaign to criminalize sexual harassment and bloody good period, which seeks to make period products freely available. So it
that's
seems
cool.
like there's like some things we would agree with her on and some things that we wouldn't agree with her on. Does that seem
Yeah,
fair?
and yeah, that's fair. Like we all agree with her about some things, and we will be like, "Oh, come on, girl,"
So far, she's
in
got a
other things.
better track record than Michelle Dauber.
Michelle Dauber.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and also like it's funny though. Like she worked to make the minimum age of marriage for girls, or maybe for mine, whatever, from 16 to 18. In India, it's already 18 for women and 21 for boys.
Yeah, it doesn't say
Let's just say,
where. It doesn't say where she changed that
I
litigation
think
because from
maybe in UK.
but in Canada the legal age is 16, but that's with other 16-year-olds. So like teenagers can have sex with each other without getting in trouble, and then once
Yeah,
you're over 18, then you're in a situation where it's like no, you can't be with somebody who's 16. So there's
yeah.
like a
So yeah,
couple finagly rules in there.
in
Hopefully, I'm
India, the
getting that
minimum
right.
age of marriage. The minimum age of marriage has been 18 for women and 21 for boys. I think so. There was a petition around some time ago to make the minimum age for boys also 18 because it kind of then they're kind of then treated as equals rather than boys as being because it's kind of showing that women are maturing sooner than boys for some reason for marriage. So there was, yeah, the idea behind. I think so. It was because so
That's some incel sounding shit right there.
yeah, but it's I think so. The reason for that was so to try and so to criminalize child marriage as much as possible,
Sure.
strictly as possible. So
Sometimes
even
you
if like a
gotta
90
take
year old
one. Sometimes you gotta take one step at a
extreme step,
time. Yeah, you can't
yeah,
go
and then
from
come
like
back to
here
the
to
normal,
here. You've gotta work your way up.
yeah. But child marriages are still prevalent in India. I'm not saying that we are perfect, but
I
it's
I enjoy
but
that
you can
all
be sent
these
to jail for that.
people, all the people that we've talked about so far about this, like including Michelle
Are
Dauber,
following her.
are follow.
Hey, I
Well,
follow her.
Charlotte and Dauber follow each other, but both of them are also followed by the female dating strategy, which is like we gotta cover
Eh?
them sometime. We have got to
Yes,
cover them sometime. All
yes,
right, so let's take a
yes.
look. I went back. We took it back. We took it back to June 11th,
How
where
far did
she's
you
June
go?
11th. I didn't go too far, but so like
Okay.
after the
Verdict.
judgment came down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
Cool, cool, cool.
right here she says the next big defamation case brought by a powerful man against complainant of sexual abuse, Manson versus Evan Wood, and it's like a thread that is just like, look at this. Ay, 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 ay.
Oh my God. Did she pick that up from someone's Instagram or something? Because it's purple, that's why.
No,
Like,
I think she made it for Instagram.
damn. I like the dedication. Um, so Marilyn Manson, even Rachel Wood, they go. So I this is where another problem is.
This is missing
I'm
a
okay.
lot of information.
Yeah, my thing is that if she's going case by case, then I'm fine with it. But by the looks of it, she's not going case by case because she said another man, isn't it? So she's trying to clump Johnny Depp with this guy for something.
Are you gonna
And that's
cut?
what my problem is with her. Are you going to condemn Amber Heard's PR guy? That's a fair question. If you're going to clump all men together, let's clump all men together. You know, let's go for Amber Heard's PR guy too because he has been accused of being very inappropriate with women. I think so there was this instance where he went on a date with a woman and she didn't go for a second date with him, and he said, "Oh, you gotta return me the money I spent on you. Citation needed." Are you telling me?
No, I'm
Dang
talking
it!
about this. Culture of silencing victims and NDAs after Jepp Heard trial. We are right back to where we started. This is the death of saying Me Too. Is this the death of saying Me Too?
I personally believe that it's not a death of Me Too because again, truth doesn't need any defense. Truth made truth cannot defame someone. Truth in itself stands. So if you're telling the truth, but if you're going to go out there in public and make the claims, you will be asked to back up your claims. That is fair for people to ask you to back up your claims. But and I'm not saying do not believe all male victims. Yes, if someone comes forward, encourage them to come forward and go through proper criminal like reporting channels to get justice and be safe. That's what the thing should be. To go out there and talk about it. Yes, you can do that after you have gone through your. That's what the thing was. Amber Heard had gone through the TRO, like the channels, and got a TRO. If she had pursued it further and pressed charges against Johnny Depp, then she was free to talk about it, like Rihanna was, right? Rihanna had pressed charges against her partner who had harmed her, right?
You mean
And we
you're
saw the
talking
injuries
about
on her face.
Chris Brown, who still has a
Yes.
platform, who still has a quite a
Yes.
good career and is still very rich because
Why is
did they not care about her enough because she's black?
it's possible?
Is that what it is? She's not a
It's
crying white
possible
woman.
because because she comes across as maybe in stark contrast to Amber Heard, because she did document her injuries, she did report her
Hmm.
abuser, and she did get justice. So maybe that's why.
I like
Because
that
if you put her.
Colonel Kurtz
Mhm.
popped up in here too to talk about Marilyn Manson. If you want to find out more about the Marilyn Manson case and the information that Dr. Proudman is neglecting, I definitely recommend checking out Colonel Kurtz's videos on it. I was watching them because I was talking to her on Drunken Peasants the other day, so I definitely recommend checking that out. But
Uh-huh.
that's the link to her video
Interesting.
in the chat. So
Yeah, so the Venerable Bede said from the live chat, how is Me Too dead when Johnny Depp had a Me Too movement on the stand in this case? Um, it's interesting that the Me Too movement should be against Amber because she's got a record of her, abusing her spouses. There is her previous spouse was also, she was also a victim of Amber Heard.
there are lots of
And
people who came forward to say that they were abused by Amber in some way, like getting spit on in the face, like getting slapped around, like getting
yeah,
pushed down and stuff. Like there
yeah,
was her former assistant, there was her former makeup artist. There's stories about her sister getting hit.
yeah.
Uh,
And
Doc,
Intrigued Feline from the live chat
okay.
said, is it perhaps because it would be possible to publicly compare Heard versus Rihanna if they broadcast Rihanna? Yeah, it is. It is actually comparable. People have compared what Rihanna put out as pictures of her injuries and what Heard put out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Chris Brown punching her in the face, by the way, without any rings on.
That
If you look
was
at the
that was
pictures.
without any rings on,
Mhm.
sitting down, both buckled into a car.
Car seat.
So that was
Yeah, close
that was
proximity.
only, yeah, that was close proximity to the, I don't know where they were,
At an
if
angle,
they
you
were
can
on the
say.
left or the right, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
So,
But Michelle Dauber
so
over here,
yeah.
because we're looping in from last week. Charlotte
Here we
Proudman
go.
over
Here we go.
here is retweeting Michelle Dauber. I wonder which female lawyer will gleefully and brutally cross-examine Wood.
Not you. I hope not one of your students, because you'll have a fit. I hope not one of your former students.
I like how
God
she
dang it.
considers like what Vasquez did as brutal.
Brutal. Like, not that.
I agree that it was brutal,
Not.
but not in the same way that they're presenting.
How about questioning Elaine about what the fuck she did? And Rotten, born or Rotten House, whatever the fuck his name is. Rotten, I'm just gonna call him Rotten. That they did not teach their or coach their like their client properly. Even though if you wanted everything to be authentic, you still have to give a heads up to your client. Or is Amber too full of herself that she just like the advice went in one year and went out the other year? Like, seriously, I saw Rottenborn. Okay, thanks, Intrigued Feline.
Johnny Depp's case
Rottenborn.
gives all male celebrities accused of abuse the playbook of how to respond to accusations. I'm not shocked Marilyn Manson is suing Evan Rachel Woods. Sad but not shocked. Why is this a problem for you?
I don't get it. No, I
I
don't get it.
I don't
It's
know
like, oh,
why
I'm
it's a
gonna just.
problem for victims to have access to information about how to handle cases of accusation.
Yeah, I thought it was innocent until proven guilty, one. And if it's innocent until proven guilty, why not for men? And what is it about male celebrities? Like, just because they're celebrities, they can be accused falsely of anything? And it is actually harder for celebrities to prove malice and defamation.
I
They
said this
have
a
to go the
while
extra
ago.
mile.
When Amber Heard presented herself and the ACLU presented Amber as an advocate for female victims of domestic abuse, my response to this was, if you want a poster child for, like, you want a woman face for domestic abuse, for Me Too, Rihanna. Rihanna would
Yep.
be the best example, best person about, she handled it well.
I'm just
She
wondering.
has celebrity status
Yeah.
and still handled it well. And you know who's not writing op-eds about their abuse?
This whole thing. Yep.
Rihanna.
Rihanna. Yeah, because she doesn't need to. You don't need
I
to,
wouldn't
if
advise
you're
that
a
she work with
celebrity.
ACLU after this, though. To be fair.
No, Rihanna, please, girl, don't. Please. And I'm just wondering which lawyers. And I'm just like, I think so. Why Amber Heard was able to win this case? Not win. Sorry, was defeated, you could say, in this case, was because it was quite apparent that Amber Heard did not listen to advice. It's quite apparent in this during this whole debacle. She does not listen to people around her. She does what she wants, which is good in some instances, but when you're dealing with litigation, you should listen to experts. And I think so that's what happened maybe around when that ACLU article was happening. Remember when we read the emails where they were asking Amber to go through her lawyers and
Yeah.
fact check it? And they were trying to remove some excerpts from it so that it's as vague as possible so it doesn't pinpoint at Johnny, but still ended up pinpointing at Johnny for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I bet you Amber said, "Oh yeah, I talked to my lawyers. Maybe sent an email, just like a form, like
I don't
for a
know. There was a
formality,
whole
and
lot
then
of her not really working on it. It was basically ghost written, and then the
yeah,
ghostwriter had to work with the lawyers to try to skirt around
yeah,
her relationship with Johnny as best as they could.
yeah. And she was trying to, I think so. By the when we read the emails, she was trying very hard to be specific about Johnny. She wanted to drag him into it, and I'm just surprised that ACLU just didn't say, "Listen, if you're not gonna do it our way, we're just gonna drop it. We won't
the,
do it."
the
But they wanted that
absolute
3.5 million dollars.
The absolute irony. Myself and other campaigners have long been concerned about unregulated and unqualified experts making diagnoses that
Uh-oh.
result in parents, often mothers, losing their children. The usual claim of parental alienation, a highly gendered and contested concept, front page news. Why would
Oh,
this not apply to this, my dear? Please
yeah,
tell me that.
yeah. Oh, you mean Dr. Spiegel? Dr. Spiegel sitting on the bench there and saying, "Oh yeah, I watched a couple of interviews and a couple of movies of Johnny Depp, and I decided that he was a narcissist."
I also
Like,
decided he was a drunk. Didn't you watch the Pirates
yeah.
movies?
Oh no, and
Can
he
you
was being
miss
fed
though?
instructions through the earpiece, not music.
Can you complete like you don't miss that Johnny Depp, the character of Captain Jack, was not drunk all the time. He had sea legs. So he was
Yeah,
staggering and walking like that, and he suffered from severe heat stroke on that initial island. So he's probably got some kind of like brain fry going on. Like he's not drunk all
yeah,
the. There are certainly times in the movie where he is drunk, but it's not all the time. So we've got a doctor here who can't even recognize like symptoms of heat stroke, like severe heat stroke, nor
yeah.
what sea legs are.
Isn't this woman who was like trying to point out that the Pirates of the Caribbean movie like tried to hide slavery in the Caribbean?
Oh God, yeah, that. So,
Yeah, I think so. It was her, and it was like
oh, I
funny
remember
that
that.
I think so. It was you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it was you who pointed out that he was actually branded and by the British Empire and imprisoned because he tried to like freed slaves. That's why. That's
The
what
reason
happened
why
back
he
then.
was known by the trading company at the very beginning of the movie was because he was freeing slaves.
British East. Yeah,
Yeah, Feline pointed that out on Twitter. I think I talked to you about it another time.
yeah.
In 2022, it's hard to believe that women's voices are being silenced. Where? We must be heard
Where
and we must be respected. We will not be silenced. I feel
no
like,
one silenced Amber Heard. She's still talking.
yeah, I think people wish she would shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But yeah, who's been silenced? Where? What are you talking about?
Where Amber got a chance. She spoke about it. For 6 years, she was going everywhere, attending talks for like 30K per talk or something like that.
Yeah.
She was charging for those talks, and she was going around for 6 years. She had her chance. You're allowed to say whatever you want to, but when it starts going into the boundary of defamation,
Well,
when a country holds the precedent of innocent until proven guilty, then you will have consequences.
like as
Free
Manya
speech
gets
comes
into
with
this,
consequences.
as Manya gets into stuff, she starts leaning to the side and just slowly slides out of camera. There's also this bit with between Proudman and Dauber where you have this issue where I've invited these people to have a conversation. I've invited these people to come and talk. I've
Yeah.
asked people who are supporting Amber Heard to come and have a conversation on an equal platform. Like
Mhm.
obviously it would not be on Dumbfuck Friday. Dumbfuck Friday is not for that. Debate Hub is designed and set up to be a fair and equal platform so they would have their time to say what they want to say and questioning back and forth, right? That would be as fair as equal as I could possibly make it. And they won't. They won't talk. They're complaining about being silenced, but they refuse to actually use their voices to engage in any kind of conversation because they don't want to engage in conversation. They want to dictate. They want to preach.
They want to talk
These are not
on people.
right. These are not journalists. Cat is another one. These people are not journalists. These people are not writers. These people are not people who are advocates for anything. They're not trying to actually
I
make change and discuss because the way you make change is by discussing. This is just we're just gonna yell at you until you listen to us.
Yeah, I think so. They're so used to with being provided with platform there where they just waltz in and give these long monologues and lectures and talks that and they get no pushback.
As
That
if
they've
yeah.
gotten so used to that that now at the slightest, you know, mention of pushback, they're like, "Oh no, this is a trap." I'm like, seriously? If you have convictions, if you are confident that you have the background for it and you can, back it up, why not? Go for it. And no one's telling you that you have to stay. If you feel uncomfortable, at any point you can say, "Listen, I think so I'm out of my depth here, or I'm not understanding your point or something, but I think so I'll end it here." And simply just end it on good terms and leave. No one's asking you to get into a cat fight. And I'm out of like okay, I need to do something about this. Well, I'll just like I'll be like
there's no
ah.
winning because you just lean in so far. I'd have to zoom you. I could put you way back out, but
Nah, it's okay.
so here we get to the one that I
Yeah,
used for the
be
thumbnail.
nice.
We get to the one that I used for the thumbnail, right? Feminism isn't about women making women equal to men. It's about overthrowing the patriarchy and creating a society that's truly just and free.
Now there should be a caveat in there, only for a PS, only for women, not for men. Nuh-uh.
I don't know what is more equal than Amber Heard keeping her roles, getting the opportunity to say whatever she wanted to say, being able to have her day in court as needed on on one occasion specifically, but tertiarily on another occasion. And then
Hmm.
and still to this day, she is still talking. She's still making these accusations. This is still ongoing.
Yeah.
What
Whereas Johnny
about
Depp has
what about
lost.
that is unfair? What
Um,
about that is not
is it the social
just?
media? Is it the social media that she's worried about? Kind of tells me her priorities are wrong. The and it's I think so. It's like
Like,
and
I don't
in
disagree
contrast,
that
you
there are
see,
problems. Like I agree that there
yeah,
are spaces and areas that are
oh yeah,
unfair. Both of us are women who have worked in male-dominated fields, particularly like
yep.
even between. I mean, I'm not going to tell
We
her.
worked with Steve
We worked with
for fuck's
Steve.
sake. Yeah.
Like we're not like the debunking community is definitely like a bros club, bro. It's a little bit of a sausage
Oh yeah.
fest.
I say
So
it's they are bros before hoes kind of thing, but whatever.
but this is also like in like regular day-to-day jobs like I did I've worked factories multiple different times. I've worked kitchens, I've worked bars. So I've worked in these male dominated fields and there is a lot of misogyny that exists in those areas, but it's generally from individuals, not from like what
The
is the
system.
standard, like what's acceptable by the standard. So this
Yeah.
is it's a matter of it's one of those things where you can make the change to the standard, but it takes time for the standard to seep its way through the system, right?
Yeah.
It takes
It will
time
take time
to,
for
yeah,
change.
and that's okay. That's fine. But like there's the old guard versus the new guard, and then there's like encouraging women in STEM and encouraging women to take jobs, and the pendulum will has to overcorrect to then come to center. And I mean that's what I hope to see. I hope to see that Me Too
It's about
will
time.
centralize itself.
And so Smitty's saying there are over 18,837 lawyers currently employed in the United States. 51.5% of all lawyers are women, while 48.5% are men. Yeah, that's interesting statistics. Almost 50-50 there. And it's possible, yes, some states may have a lot more men than women,
It's
but
also possible
overall
that
we can
some
see there's a balance.
it's also possible that there's some fields as well. So different, like, so you might see a higher number of women in family lawyering versus like business lawyering. And
Yeah,
that might just,
yeah,
again, it's a matter of time as that trickles itself
yeah,
out and
yeah.
bounces back
And
and
I think
forth.
so it's about time the Me Too movement's pendulum came to an equilibrium now where you will believe the victims initially and you will encourage them to go through proper channels, not write an op-ed to, protect themselves, from their perpetrator. And then when they come forward with evidence, this is what happened, then we say, good on you. We
Th-
support you fully.
there's just words here that I'm
That
just,
includes men.
yeah, of
Sorry, yes,
course.
go.
There are just words here that I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Feminism isn't about making women equal to men. Yes, it is. That's always what it was
Yes,
about. It was about gaining
yes.
equal rights. You want to talk about privilege? This is an example of privilege. This is taking the hard work that the old guard of women did and reforging it to your own fucking twisted ass
Twisted. Yeah.
you just want to dominate. And that's never
Yes.
what feminism was initially about. It was like, I'd like to be able to open a bank account, please and thank you. I'd like to be able to
Can I
divorce,
vote?
please and thank you. I'd like to be able to vote, please and thank you. I'd like to be able
Can
to
I have custody
press.
of my children?
I would like to be able to press charges and have a job, please and thank you. Because Me Too wasn't about punishing men. Me Too was about women who when there was not a standard in place for sexual abuse allegations. There wasn't. That was the problem. The problem was is that these
Yeah.
things would happen and they would just slide under the radar because the police didn't have a standard for it. The laws didn't have a standard for it. There were issues of things getting shoved under the rug. Now, in dealing with those things and getting those things fixed and at least making them better, there are standards now. There are protocols that the police have to file. And we saw some of them talked about in court
Yeah.
during this
I don't.
trial. That didn't used
The
to be a
the
thing. You
the
remember,
police
Manya? Do you
that
remember the year?
responded.
Do you remember the year when the so they had the police talking about it, saying that it was standard, but then that Herd's team brought on the chief of that field
Yeah.
of that abuse field, and she said the year that these standards were put in place, it was like 1993 or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the
Like two
exact year.
decades, 4 decades ago. Yeah.
Right. It's 2022. Me Too and like this feminism, this arc of feminism to have women be believed is from before that standard took place, was put in,
Yep.
and now it's there.
That's what that standard achieved. Like that standard came in like, yes, there can be situations where a victim is intimidated, and even if you like come in and you are questioning a victim, they might act as normal or try and present everything as normal as possible because they're under threat or something. And then the officers are trained to look for signs and symptoms and everything, around the house, on the victim. Are there any injuries or anything like that? Children, how are they doing? And these people, I think, responded twice to the calls. I think so. The second call was accidental or something, maybe, whatever. And in both the calls, they
Allegedly.
couldn't recognize Amber Heard as a victim of domestic violence, and they testified to that. And this is what I'm mad at that she's a barrister and she's ignoring the testimony of the officials. That's what makes me mad. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm scared for men who might be part of any divorce proceedings that she is part of. I'm scared for those men,
Well, I'm
and they
kind of
might be in
scared
the
for
right
the
place.
kid. I'm kind of scared for the kids
And
because they're
kids.
gonna get put with
And
some
kids.
crazy woman just because she's a woman. Because
Yes.
women are more maternal, right?
Yeah, obviously. Men
Mm.
can't be maternal. They are always paternal. Patriarchy. Beta.
I am so not impressed with this. There's a societal pressure on men that I am not a fan of, and it's like basically
Yeah.
it's against men being affectionate to their kids. And that's
Yeah.
fucked up. That's
Yeah.
so fucked up.
That's messed up.
But that's
That's
something
so
for
wrong.
feminism. That's something that that feminism is like, hey, listen, we don't want to be 100% or we ought not to have to be the
Mhm.
maternal parent 100% of the time. Men should be able to be maternal with their children. So men getting equal maternity leave as well as men being
That happens in New Zealand.
allowed to be men being allowed to be at the park with getting weird side glances from other parents is something that
Or
feminism is like good positive. Yes, we want that.
using the baby diaper change restrooms in malls freely without being judged. For
Yep.
fuck's sake. Like, for some reason, women, I don't know why it's acceptable that women can change diapers of their babies, but men can't. Like, it's weird. What the hell? I remember when I was
It
a kid,
comes
my
from
dad
this
used to braid
idea.
my hair to school, and I loved it.
It
He
it
used to braid my hair to
comes
school.
it comes from this idea that men are dangerous and men are predators, period. And so that
Yeah,
means towards
that's
women, that means towards men, that means towards animals, etc., etc., etc. And that's just not the case. Now, I can
and that's
understand where the fear comes from, and I can understand
yes,
that there needs to be changes to address that from a societal standpoint, but also from a legality standpoint. But it that doesn't just because I can understand where it's coming from doesn't mean it's okay or correct.
yeah, nah, yeah, nah.
Yeah. So
It's
it's
yeah, it's sad. Like it's I think so that's what the new wave of feminism should be. It should be like, yes, men can be victim of violence. We need to support male victim of violence, male victim of patriarchy. Allow men to be affectionate and cry and express emotion in a healthy way. Getting angry for men, it's okay, men out there. I'm telling you guys, it's okay to be angry. It's what you do with your anger that matters. How you channel it matters. But till then, I'm not prosecuting anyone for thought crime, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I said to someone in a text message that girl needs to go through global humiliation because I was mad that I was being accused of domestic
he
violence.
wasn't wrong though. He was talking about her
Yeah, he wasn't
actions
wrong.
and the consequences of her. If she wants to have this public fight with me, then she's gonna burn herself to the ground.
Let's go for it
This
then.
is
Yeah,
literally the
why
same.
shouldn't
This is the same thing as my involvement with NSS. If he wants to have this public fight with me, then he's gonna burn himself to the
let's
ground. It
go?
has nothing to do with what I do at that point. It's the consequences of your own actions
Office. Yeah.
that ends
And
up
also
causing the most
like
damage.
so yeah, so women get a free round of to talk whatever they want to talk about. Why not men? Men should also get the free. If you're gonna swing publicly, the guy also you should get a chance to swing at you publicly. That's metaphorical, guys. Okay, I'm not condoning violence here.
TV said a little behind. In UK, you can marry anyone at 16 with parents' permission. The age of sexual consent is 16 and has been for a long time. The biggest recent change was dropping age for homosexual sex. Yeah, it just said that she worked on some litigation to raise the age of consent, but it didn't say where or what. So that was a big old
Yeah,
citation needed because we had no idea what
needed.
they were referring to. Although I do think it would be
Yeah,
really, really ironic if she's running around making changes to another country while her country is doing that
Still
thing.
at 16, yeah.
Yikes.
Nah.
Big yikes. Okay, so there's another thing in here where I don't understand equal in quotation marks. Does she just think that men and women in society can't be
Shouldn't be
equal?
equals?
Shouldn't be
Yeah, or
equals?
shouldn't be equal? Yeah.
Or the
Um,
equality that people are talking about isn't true equal? Like, whatever like,
yeah.
we're gonna know true Scotsman equality?
Or do you want matriarchy? What are you aiming for? I don't get it.
I just don't know what that means. Overthrowing the
Yeah. uh,
patriarchy, and now I want your definition of patriarchy. What does that mean? And give me an example.
Yeah. But it's also like
Men
I'm
being
looking at a
shitty
tweet.
to men being shitty to women and having bros clubs is not patriarchy, by the way. That's just a
No,
societal thing that
men being
happens.
yeah, that's just being men being a-holes.
And women
Women
do
can
it
do that
too.
too. Yeah. Um, my thing is, I'm I've come across a tweet.
A
She
boogeyman.
claims she is, yeah, she claims she is very educated and stuff, and she's worked in a lot of fields, but her language on Twitter does not, for some reason, does not back it up. I don't know. Maybe she
It's the
does it on
difference
purpose.
between what she says in the bio of saying that she's a part-time Cambridge academic and
Yeah,
barrister, where she's actually a junior in her field.
yeah. I don't have anything against junior, but even juniors have
No,
much more sophisticated language and rhetoric than what she has
it's
presented so
her
far, let's just say.
presentation of herself seems to be a slight exaggeration of what her
Yeah,
credentials back up.
yeah.
Helios for 10
Nah,
said, my mom warned me when I was a late teen slash early adult that I should not hug my female cousin after 10 or let them cuddle with me after 5 or 6 when we watched family
what?
movies.
Okay, what? I don't know. That's strange. Your mom's maybe being overly protective, I guess. Or
Adults can
she's like worried about
consensually
some infections.
cuddle. In fact, I advocate for more adult cuddling, consensual cuddling.
Cuddling.
More
But that
cuddling.
was after 10, isn't it? They said after 10.
So after the age of
I think so
10
she
that they
was
shouldn't hug, period. Cuddling was after 5 or 6.
I think so she's overly I actually I can understand why she said that. This is this fear of like, because I don't know, I don't want to assume Helios gender, but if they're a male, and they are cuddling with their, female cousins, they will get the stink eye. They'll get the stink eye in the family, let's just say.
I understand
Like,
like
not,
the generals of patriarchy and the way
of
she's talking about
course,
it,
sweetie.
but I don't know what she specifically means because it seems to be all over the place.
Yeah. Intrigue feline from the live chat. Shesh Manya,
Cuddle
there are also just
puddles.
natural tendencies without the drugs. Women generally choose jobs like nurses or teachers or stuff like that, while men take like to be builders, for example. Well, I have seen women also who are very good at building stuff. I've seen women also who are very interested in that field. Yes, women are encouraged to go in that field, or
I like building
because they're
stuff.
natural leaders, so they're able to be nurses and teachers, because you have to be a leader to be a nurse
Well,
and a
you have
teacher.
to also
You
be incredibly emotionally mature to be able to handle
Yes,
those things and have a lot of
yes,
emotional control. And unfortunately, society does not set men up for success in that field specifically.
yeah. I don't know why.
Men are very societally not so. This is speaking in general, not every man. So in society, men are set up for failure because society expects men to has an expectation of men to be the equivalent of emotionally stunted, right? So
Yeah,
like they're not allowed to cry, they're not allowed to be angry, they end up with like you're not allowed to be sad or even really be that happy. You have to be stoic, you need to like suck it up, da 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 da. And the answer is that but women are encouraged to cry and talk to each other about how they feel, yada yada yada. And so, because women are generally, it's generally acceptable for women to be more open with each other like that than it is for men to be open with each other or even other women. it means that men don't get to practice having emotions and how to handle them as when they're younger, and so it ends up being an issue later on that becomes repressive and explosive, and having repressed emotions leads to weird shit.
Weird shit, yes.
Weird shit.
Oh, Shash's mom is in the live chat. Hi,
Hi,
Shash's mom.
mom.
Say everybody hi. Say hi, everybody to Goblin Mom.
Creating a
And
society that is truly just and free. What the?
so
Please tell me what that looks
wouldn't
like to her, because I don't know what.
just and free. Will That's my question. Is a free just will a free society be just? Number one question, Dr. Proudman for you. And number two, wouldn't just mean equal? Isn't that what you mean? Then why don't you want women equal, don't, or are you looking for a free market kind of a scenario? Because then it cannot be just if you're going to look for that.
I don't know. A
It
free
can't be
market. A
just.
free market would be exactly what we saw. Amber went and did whatever she wanted, and there were consequences to her actions. Or you talk? Maybe she's talking about
Exactly.
free of consequences.
Oh. Why are you barrister then, by the way, if you want society to be free of consequences? Why are you working in female genital mutilation? Why are you trying to get the age of consent up? If you want, if you want this, if you want the society to be free of consequences, if you want to spread it around equally and evenly, Dr. Proudman.
There's a bit down here that I thought was interesting. It's a response. When
Yeah.
we overthrow the patriarchy, then women, men, other minorities automatically will become equal to each other. This superior and inferior is a patriarchal concept to keep certain people oppressed and only men in power.
I would have agreed with that if they had said to keep only some men in power. Everybody going headshot.
Excuse me really quick. Follow.
Please check your misandry. Please
Like.
check your please check your misandry, please.
As a top tier
Uh,
response. But like what
like Intrigued Feline has a very interesting point from the live chat. Shesh, what wasn't just to this verdict? If they cannot see this as just, why do they get to decide what is just when it is right at their face and they deny it? Exactly. They want to say this is my problem. This is my problem with people like Michelle Dauber and Dr. Proudman. They scream from the rooftops, this wasn't fair, this wasn't fair, this wasn't fair. But they fail to point out where in the process what was unfair. What that happened in that court was unfair. Amber Heard and her team got a lot of chances, and there are some experts on the YouTube. You will be surprised, there are a lot of legal experts now on YouTube who have said, and I quote, the judge gave a lot of leeway to Amber Heard's team.
Yeah.
A lot of leeway. And she was gracious, but she did give a lot of chances and leeway to Amber Heard's team.
That judge was so
That's what
patient.
free is. Oh yes. Oh
So
yes.
patient.
Especially with Amber
I
Heard's
was
team.
worried for her. I'm glad she started getting a little bit
At
more
one
strict.
point, yeah, at one point she was coaching Elaine what to ask.
Yeah.
So you might want to talk to your your colleague, Miss Elaine, about what she was, and maybe Mr. Rotten House, was it?
Rottenborn.
Rotten Rottenborn, about how they were approaching this case. And maybe if you think that they had nothing to work on, then maybe you want to start examining what Amber Heard has been talking about. Because the lawyers work with what their clients will give them. And that's what happened in Johnny's case. He had recordings. He had pictures of his severed fingers. He had police officials testify.
Further
He had
context of the emails and text
Britta
messages
Hoff.
they were putting forward.
And then intrigue felines like Manya, they probably would say evidence was suppressed. What evidence was suppressed? What evidence? Put it out there. Let the world see what evidence was suppressed. She's already going on talk shows and talking. Why not put out the evidence, the suppressed evidence, and maybe let the world decide, oh my god, shit, this wasn't allowed in court? You know why? Maybe because there's nothing. And this is what these people are working on. A fucking
Or
fuckball of nothing.
or maybe in regards to Amber Heard.
You lie! You lie!
You lie! I love that. I love that. Want to go, Shesh, intrigued line from the live chat. Shesh, do you want to go over the GMA article regarding a juror coming forward? Maybe that might be for another day.
Yeah, I'll talk about
This
that.
in itself
not
is a
yet.
big fuckball to unfuck.
On Sunday,
I
I'm
have
gonna
issues with
be-
that article also. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have issues with that article too. And
Yeah.
and that kind of pushed me towards the belief that there's a big PR machine working for Amber Heard.
On Sunday, I'll be
And
going
GMA is
over.
part of it.
On Sunday, I'll be going over the interview with Amber because the whole thing should be out by then. Because I'm kind of waiting. You kind of got a hint if you were over on Drunken Peasants, you got a hint of what my reaction is gonna be. So
Yes, I saw that.
yeehaw.
Yeehaw. David McKinnis from the live chat. Manya, clearly the trial verdict needs to be thrown out due to indiscriminate muffin bribery. Oh, the muffins. The
Muffin
fucking muffins.
bribery.
This guy is fucking unbelievable.
This guy is unfucking believable.
Everybody who understood where that reference came from last time, you win. Good job. You get your 10 points. That is from a game called The Ripper.
10 points to Hufflepuff.
So here she is saying,
I selected Hufflepuff for a reason.
how many women do you... No, you said Gryffindor last time.
Did I?
Continuity.
No, I'm saying this time I chose Hufflepuff.
This time, yeah.
This time I chose Hufflepuff.
Last time it was Gryffindor. Right, how many women do
Yes.
you think now won't come forward and report abuse because they are frightened of defamation claim by wealthy controlling abusers? Well, you talked about that. I saw a lady saying that she was telling her clients not to
pursue criminal charges.
not pursue criminal charges for fear of defamation. So giving people shit legal advice based on shit like this. So the answer is, there might be a few because you're fucking lying to people.
This narrative of like you can get prosecuted for if you press criminal charges is absolutely stupid.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Actually, and I'm not a lawyer, and I know better than these
we would
people.
know with the number of FBI calls we both have had, right?
Yes, of course, you know, and the proof that I have doxed people, you know, international law, you know, what international law would have to say about me, you know, and all that bullshit, you know. Apparently sitting in New Zealand, I called child services in fucking some part of US that I don't even know where to call. For fuck's sake.
No, you don't want to know I got a dirty ass laundry list of how many people have definitely reported me to the FBI for totally legitimate things that definitely happened.
Yeah, it's like, and
the answer is
these women will definitely promote that shit.
The only reason there will, if this case, like in regards to this case, if there are more women than would have not come forward due to being afraid because who they're with is wealthy, that number is only going to increase based solely on your reporting on it. You're reporting, Michelle Dauber's reporting, the Cat's reporting, the Washington Post. You're causing the problem you're complaining about, not the case. The case didn't cause that problem. You're the ones lying to people about the situation is what is causing the problem you're complaining about.
So they create the monster and then they cry about the monster. Like how abhorrent can you be? Seriously. How more abhorrent can you be? How more desperate you can be? Like, do your job properly then. Seriously. Like, if you want to represent women to the highest standard, do your fucking job.
And if you
Like,
want
and
equality, then women need to be held to the same standards as men across the board.
exactly,
That's not you
exactly.
don't get to pick and choose that. If you want justice, you want freedom, then what you need to be is treated equally across the board. That is an all or nothing thing. You don't get to be like, well,
You don't.
I want special treatment here, but I don't want it here. Like if people are getting
Yeah,
conscripted to the army, then everybody gets conscripted to the army. If you don't like that, you don't want women to be in the army and get conscripted, then nobody should be getting conscripted.
exactly, exactly. It's ridiculous.
I want to
And
know
I'm
what she's a
surprised that
actually how if she's a junior at law, what is she a doctor of?
yeah, psychology maybe
We
because
weren't
she says she studied psychology.
we weren't actually able to confirm what she was a doctor of.
Yeah, I am just astounded that she's a doctor and she's a junior barrister, and this is the advice she's giving her clients, her female clients. Because if you remember, in UK, Johnny Depp did not sue Amber Heard. He sued the Sun, you moron. You fucking moron. What's the next?
Oh my god, children are losing their mothers. Maybe some children don't want to be with their mothers. You want to talk about
Yeah,
an unequal field? Divorce court, when it
parenthood.
involves parenthood, is fucked across the board. That is a shit show. That's not good for women. That's not good for men. This is definitely a field that needs to actually be fucking analyzed and reworked because it is a nightmare.
Yeah.
I empathize with anyone who has to go through that shit because it is so skewed in every regard. In some cases, it's heavily skewed for in men's favor, and in other cases, it's heavily skewed in women's favor, depending on where and when
Yes.
you look and which case you're looking at. It's so
Yeah.
inconsistent, and that is such a big law ought not to be inconsistent.
No.
Children cannot have mothers, by the way. That's kind of that you can have two dads and be totally fine.
Yeah.
It is
They need
LBG.
good
It is Pride
parents.
Month. You can be a mom and
Yes.
be you can have birthed a baby and still be a shitty mom.
Oh yeah. There weren't there cases there are cases where women have literally sold their children to feed a habit. So, yeah, and men also do that. Both sexes do it. So it should be based on merit, not based on gender, you dipshit. Maybe if she talked about okay, I get it. There's this thing about women get tagged with false, diagnosis or something like that. Then fight the diagnosis. Fight it and get your rights back. And if you are getting diagnosed with it, maybe get your partner diagnosed, like talk to about something. Oh, Johnny Depp.
We're back
Uncle
to the
Johnny.
Uncle Johnny. We're back to the Guardian. That's what I'm sad about.
Oh my goodness. Is that Oh, it's Catherine Bennett.
Yeah, we're back here. Johnny
I
Depp can
think some
probably
mainstream
thank his
media
lawyers and PR for suddenly having a shot at dramatic public image resurrection, but the question remains whether Hollywood will soon restore him to the big screen he used to dominate.
I don't think so. He's already lost it. He won't be coming back. It's
I don't.
That's not what he did it for, you asshole.
Well, that's what they're saying he did it for, because of course it is.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest salt, like the
Salt
massive
stream.
salt stream that the mainstream media has had.
I'd call up my
Like,
local
with
government to see if they can get this salt and use it to salt the roads in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's like they're so mad that there were creators on YouTube who were able to monetize this shit, and that they were able to pull the viewership away from these mainstream media channels, which are part of YouTube, by the way. Let's just say these mainstream media, like Shesh says, they pretend that they're not part of the the social media circle. They're on YouTube, they're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're everywhere, and they get more privileges than regular creators, and the regular creators still like fucking overflowed them in
The-
viewership.
The
And I
devil
was
works
so
hard.
happy.
The devil works hard, but when white men in Hollywood and their PR teams work harder.
I thought that was also, I thought Amber Heard's PR team was working so hard and failed.
Johnny Depp's PR team doesn't have to do shit right now. Those guys
Shit.
are just like,
Johnny Depp's PR team is his lawyers. Johnny Depp's PR team is his lawyers. That's it. That's
oh my
what
god.
his PR team comprises of. You know, truth doesn't need a megaphone or a microphone. You know. David McGinnis. Rumor has it that he is going to be in Beetlejuice 2. Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Yep.
He might
Beetlejuice.
come back.
He'll be
Yeah.
back. He'll be back. Now,
Whereas
the question
Amber
is,
Heard-
is he going to work with Disney ever again?
I don't think so. He's gonna be like, fuck you.
I don't know. He doesn't. He's just not. I don't think he needs them. So, you know.
Disney needs him, definitely.
Quote, I actually understand. He's a beloved character and people feel they know him. He's a fantastic actor, end quote, said Amber Heard. We saw this from the beginning. People would rather stand by a man for his talents rather than a complainant of domestic abuse.
This is the level of gaslighting that like people like Dr. Proudman
This
and
is just
Michelle
straight up
Dauber are doing.
rewriting history.
Yeah, this is rewriting history, and they're ignoring the majority of masses. And I'm not going to be surprised that, and this is what mainstream media is doing, and they're going to alienate a lot of their viewers by trying to ignore them and the reasons they stood for Johnny Depp. It wasn't because he was a talented actor. It was because his case had merits, and people like Dr. Proudman, Michelle Dauber, and the mainstream media will wait like maybe 2-3 months down the line when their viewership, TRPs come down and shit, and then they will have a Pikachu face of like, oh, how did we end up alienating a big chunk of their audiences? It's because of this bull crap.
Why are these people so latched on to, well, a victim would never do this for money, and it was wrong to say that Amber Heard did this for money, but they're perfectly fine with saying, well, Johnny did this for money. Like, he fucking needs it.
What, didn't Amber Heard like sue him for 100 million back? Didn't she countersue him?
Helios for he did it for 50. She did countersued for 100. Helios for 2 said Johnny Depp's PR team is Amber Heard.
Yeah, exactly. Intrigue line from the live chat, Mania Shesh, also putting motive where it is not there. Exactly. This is the level of dumb fuckery. This is the level, what do they say? Jumping through loopholes? Not even loopholes.
Mental gymnastics.
Mental gymnastics that these guys are doing to justify Amber Heard's defeat or whatever happened in that verdict. That they can't digest it, because I guess I think so.
I need another one.
I kind of get it where they're coming from. Yeah, you need another one. I need some more tea. I kind of get it where they're coming from, because they're back this horse called Amber Heard, and that horse has shitted all over their backyard, and they're thinking that the failure of Amber Heard projects on them.
Yeah, I mean,
because
in some
Amber
cases
Heard failed,
it kind of
they
does.
failed because they backed the wrong horse. The thing is that, what would have actually given me faith that these people are fact-based or evidence-based, if they had said, oh, the evidence that came out in the trial has made me change my mind. And I'm open to receiving more evidence to change my mind again, but give me the evidence. That is that lady who was supporting Amber Heard and who backed off afterwards, who said, I'm not, I think so she was one of the spokespersons for ACLU also, and she said, oh, I am not going to back up Amber Heard anymore after the tapes came out. I don't know. I can't fathom her name for the love of my life.
Are you suggesting to me that the thing that would convince you and make you have faith that people are using facts and evidence to do their reporting is if they use facts and evidence to do their reporting? Is that what you're telling me?
David McGinnis from the live chat. Manya the horse actually shit on the bed.
Okay, but there's some
Oh no,
things that I
I
want
should.
to break down here because it goes further than that, right? It goes from before this trial. It goes from years before this trial. They're trying to say that, oh, well, people would actually rather believe Johnny Depp than her. She lost jobs. She was believed for years. You're just going to pretend the last 6 years just didn't fucking
Didn't
happen?
happen.
Like,
Thanos snapped it with that verdict, isn't it? I am inevitable.
it's the Flash. When the snap happened, time still functioned.
Flashpoint.
Flashpoint paradox
yeah.
is like when the Time Force was created. The Time Force was created in the past and in the future simultaneously. EMP for 5 said, it makes me really happy how the mainstream has exposed themselves to be who they have been for a long time. Time to do better and lose even more trust. I mean, yeah, they've been like this for a really, really, really long time, and it'd be curious to try to do like a whole reverse investigation to be like, what else did they fuck up?
Kindertotenleider from the live chat. I don't know what that means. I think it's a German thing or something. Lamestream media. I like that.
A man for her talents rather than a complaint of domestic abuse. This is such like a misrepresentation of what had happened and what everybody's problem is.
And that's what my problem is. These people are trying to gaslight people so desperately. I'm just like astounded. By the way, Shesh, I send you on Discord the tweet that Dr. Proudman did make about the slavery and shit, to which Intrigue Sweetline responded, by the way, if you want to have a look at that. I sent it to you on Discord.
How did I get here? Wait, how did I get here?
I don't know.
How did this happen? What happened? How did I get to my homepage? What the fuck? Alright, well.
What the frick?
I don't know what happened.
It was Michelle Dauber, sorry. It was Michelle Dauber who was talking about the slavery and shit in Pirates of the Caribbean.
These are, by the way, we only went to tweets from June 11th.
I
didn't go back to like how much.
I already have a headache, girl. I need another
shit talking was going on.
I'm gonna brew some tea.
All right, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Oh, okay. So, all right. So,
what happened?
Captain Jack and Pirates of the Caribbean whitewashed and erased slaves and slavery from the 18th century Caribbean, where its practice was probably the most cruel in the world. Pirates were often far from freedom fighters. The film portrayed, but were slaveholders themselves. Hey, asshat, then be mad at Disney. Are people seriously this stupid? Gotta have something. JD won his case, but some have to hate because they hate themselves. Now they're just putting out dumb shit. You can't be mad at an actor for portraying a movie role because the character was racist, if they even were.
The thing is that the Pirates of the Caribbean whole thing was Johnny Depp's idea. We just said that it was Johnny Depp's idea, but how far they went into
not all
the storyline. Yeah, but how much was the background arc? How much did he contribute towards the background arc of the whole thing? Is citation needed? Number one, and be mad at Disney. And number two, there's a very specific place where it was pointed out that Captain Jack Sparrow was imprisoned because he freed slaves. So these are all the people who have not made any effort to watch the trial, nor the evidence that was presented in the trial. And they have never watched the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Or study the history of pirates.
They have done no research. And these are people who claim to have done research in the past. Oh my god.
These are professional experts, right? That Proudman said she was so concerned about. I just said LOL. I just said I just said LOL, what the fuck? I guess they erased the cursed skeletons from the history books at my school. And then Feline said not only that, the whole reason why Captain Jack Sparrow got brandished as a pirate is because he set free hundreds of slaves, after which his ship burnt down and was revived by J.B. Jones, leading to the pearl being blackened, i.e. the Black Pearl.
Ooh. And that's why he owed it to the Davy Jones. Oh, that's why Davy Jones was after him. Like, you have to serve on the Dutchman. Oh, that's why Davy Jones was like. I loved the guy who played Davy Jones. I love that guy. The fucking character is awesome.
I'm not going back to Michelle. We
No,
covered
no,
that
not to
already.
that. Ah,
My
you
client's
lie!
ex-partner told her you're doing a herd, meaning she shit on the bed. Sorry, meaning that she was lying about being raped. Amber Heard, a victim of domestic abuse, citation needed, has become an
Citation needed.
adjective for speaking up, being humiliated, laughed at, mocked, and told to shut up because she isn't worth listening to. There's a key word
She
right
was
here.
heard, you asshole.
No. There's a key
She
word
was
right here.
heard.
There's a key word
Yeah.
right here. Lying.
Lie, you lie.
Well,
You lie.
okay, hear me out. You're doing a herd, meaning she was lying about being raped. Heard, a victim of domestic
So,
abuse, has become an adjective for speaking up and being humiliated, laughed at, and told. No, she's becoming
no.
an adjective for lying. You even said so in your own
Why
tweet.
the fuck you lying? Why
This
the
is-
fuck you lying?
This is
Why
why
the fuck
it's.
you lying?
This is why it's called Dumb Fekk Friday.
This
Right
is
there.
Dumb Fake Friday, where we like bang our heads on the table like with the desktop fuckery. That's what my problem. That again, she's obfuscating two things, right? She's obfuscating lying with being a victim. If you're a victim, you're not lying.
No, she's
Simple as
no.
that.
She's obfuscating lying and speaking up.
Ah, yeah.
Mhm.
So and to
she's
say,
what
and
she's
who's
doing is she's
responsible for that?
conflating Amber Heard with being a victim, which she is not.
She's not. That's what I'm saying. So who's responsible for all that? Dr. Charlotte? It's Amber Heard. She's at fault for doing this.
Oh, so yeah, it wouldn't be an
Because she's
adjective. It would be a verb. Pulling a herd is a verb, not an adjective. But you know,
yeah,
we're
it's an
not-
action.
You're gonna get
It's an
you're gonna get into the grammatic technicalities of what is a. We've got a
Yeah.
doctor lawyer over here who works on writing litigation, who doesn't know the difference between an adjective and a verb. But that's not my business.
And she's from UK, and English is my second language. And
I
this
stand
is
with.
what like.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, go on. Go on. I'll keep on like going. You lie.
I stand with Amber Heard. I'll be watching her TV interview, Johnny Depp's team. Oh, I'll be watching it too on Sunday. So make sure to hit that bell. The link is already there, so you can go and set a reminder for yourself if you're interested. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Is your wife a goer? Johnny Depp's team gave statements and interviews to the media after the verdict, as did Amber Heard's team.
What?
Depp made his TikTok debut. Okay.
Someone's salty.
Amber finally shares her thoughts and feelings. Oh yeah, because we haven't been hearing from her for
last 6 years
as a spokesperson for women. Much of which
charging
she
30,000 a speech.
Much of which she was not allowed to do on the witness stand. You're a lawyer. You're a junior lawyer.
Of sexual assault, you asshole. What else was she supposed to share? Oh yeah. She isn't supposed to like shit on the jury. Is that what you're saying? That she wasn't allowed to shit on the jury, you asshole?
I want to know what she thinks wasn't allowed to be said. I want a breakdown. Give me a breakdown.
I'm just silently banging my head against my microphone. There we go. God. Fuck's sake, man.
Oh boy. Okay. Now she's into the Angelina Jolie Brad Pitt situation.
Weinstein allegedly blah blah blah. Pitt doesn't blah blah blah. And we are supposed to feel sorry for Pitt after the sale of the vineyard. Yeah, because if she's going behind his back and selling property, that's fraud, you moron. Just because you may be a victim. That doesn't give you the authority to commit fraud against your partner, you dumbass.
Intrigue Feline says, to be fair, she is a barrister in the UK court
Yeah.
system. The UK court system has much more leeway with hearsay. Then maybe she shouldn't be pretending she's an expert in a field that she's not an expert in and doesn't know. It's just like listening to
Yeah.
Elaine talking about UK court and saying bullshit about it.
Do you want to check?
Stay in your
if you're
gonna complain that you're worried that non-experts are gonna be commenting on things and making change and making things happen, then stay in your fucking lane, you hypocrite.
And also, like,
You
maybe
don't
try to search for
stop
with the
trying,
Sun
like,
article.
base it off of the merits. Stop trying to fucking loop people together.
Yeah.
What work
that's my problem is.
What work is Weinstein currently doing? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't villainize Brad Pitt for working with one of the most prolific people in the industry before he was ever convicted of anything. Because you don't know what Brad Pitt did and did not know. That's annoying as shit. Rather than teaching women how to be safe against violence, why don't we teach boys how to not assault women? Let's go straight to the source rather than sugarcoating blatant dangers of misogyny. Let's maybe just treat people equally and maybe just don't assault people. Period. No matter who you are. Especially if you want to insert clip of Amber Heard's, I didn't hit you. I hit you. I wasn't punching you. You weren't punched. I just hit you. I hit you. Yeah, I started physical fights. I throw pots and pans. Just because I threw pots and pans at you doesn't mean you can't come and knock on my door. Lady, you understand that associating with yourself with Amber Heard in this situation in the way that you're doing is undermining your entire point in other aspects. I think that we demand that you remove feminism from your bio at this point. Like, remove it. You're not a feminist. You're a feminazi. You're a misandrist. You want female domination. If you cared so much about victims and female victims of violence, why are you using a crying white woman? Pick somebody who's actually a victim would be a good start. Stop lying for somebody to prop them up. Stop propping up an abuser by lying for them. How about instead prop up actual victims and help make changes to the system instead of villainizing unrelated people? Or villainizing male victims.
This is so much generic stuff. This is so generic, and this is coming from a doctor. Sorry, I'm eating.
I'm using doctor in quotes. There was no reference of what we looked up to say what she was actually a doctor of. Dr. Kent Hovind over here. PSA, defending a wife beater doesn't make you an inspiration. Citation needed? How is Johnny Depp a wife beater?
This guy is unfucking believable.
You lie! You lie!
I got to use all of them in succession for one line.
Oh my goodness. Now this can be part of litigation. This is what Johnny Depp was talking about. People repeating Amber Heard's lies and causing him harm. Oh. In UK, for getting a law degree with a PhD allows you to call yourself a doctor. Oh, okay.
Does she have a PhD? We just saw
no,
that
she's still
studying. From what we saw, she's part-time.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
Hey, Charlotte.
What's your PhD in?
Yeah.
Defending a wife beater doesn't make you an inspiration. You know what's interesting? It actually can.
Yeah.
For example, Michelle Dauber brought up a female attorney who she called a skirt. For anybody who doesn't know what the term skirt is, it's the female equivalent of an Uncle Tom.
Wow.
Was able to get Cosby's case overturned due to a failure in the process, due to a technicality. You don't have to agree with the person who got their out of jail free card, but you can say that bit of lawyering was a work of genius because you can compartmentalize the crime that was committed or not committed by an individual versus how it was handled in court by professionals. Not being able to compartmentalize that and separate those two things means you're not a good lawyer.
Yeah. And again, demonizing people for doing their jobs. Is she going to demonize people who looked after Bill Cosby, like the doctors?
If Camille Vasquez was able to defend somebody so well that people don't even believe that he's a wife beater in the first place, then what you ought to be doing instead of demonizing her for doing her fucking job is analyzing the system like your CV shit claims that you do. You claim that you do this shit and make these litigations, but instead of actually looking at the system and saying where the system was wrong in the handling of this case, you're being lazy and you're attacking Vasquez for doing a good fucking job.
As I said in our last Dumb Fact Friday, all these people who are coming out of the woodworks who have backed the wrong horse for some reason are very, very lazy. And I would say they're downright, incompetent because they have done zero research. Zero, nada, null set. And again, so Dr. Charlotte, are doctors who look after people who might be accused of being wife beaters not an inspiration?
This is also not...
Is that what you're saying?
This is also not what she fucking said.
Yeah, she said that if girls get inspired with a performance to stay in school or to join law, she's all for it. She wants women to join law field. She wants women to join schools and finish their degrees.
Unlike Dr. Proudman or
I smell jealousy.
Or Michelle Dauber, who are both actively saying that women cannot be lawyers and should not be lawyers in this field. Otherwise, they are they can't do this job.
I might make a correction. There, Shesh, if you would allow me. If we go back to Michelle Dauber's statement, she said that the women cater to men in power, like Camille and the other ladies she pointed out, is because they believe that those women believe that their gender is in their way in some way. And I don't get it. I think so that's what a tweet meant. And that's also problematic. 1, citation needed. Number 2, that's you projecting. So Michelle Dauber, I will correct myself. But then you're still problematic.
I'm only willing to go based off of what she said.
I'm just saying because
she
I
said
read the tweet again.
These women know that being women undermines their identity as
these
lawyers.
Women know. So she's saying she's speaking for these women of what they think.
No,
and
when
what
you
they
say
know that she's...
when you say these women know that this is the case, you're still stating that you believe that is the case. If she said it's these women's opinions that this yeah.
She's still projecting.
I agree with you if you were to take it the other way. That's just not what she said.
Oh, look, enemy giving charity. Trying to be fair, you assholes. And seriously, Dr. Charlotte, I think so you are jealous. I'll just straight up say that. You're jealous. You're a jealous bitch.
It's one of those where they consider women as are constantly in competition with each other.
Yeah, this is what actually you are a product of patriarchy. This is what patriarchy has done to you, Dr. Charlotte, that you're pitting yourself against other women.
Other
what's
women
doing
aren't
their job.
allowed to be successful unless they agree with everything that I say. Even if their
Yeah.
job is to do their job, they're not allowed to do their job. Your opinions ought to supersede their job as a defense attorney. Because remember, defense attorney in America is a specific job.
Yep.
Because you can be like the one side, the other, or any number in between. EMP for 5 said too many of these so-called feminists probably don't even know who Amelia Earhart was and why she equally not suppressing women for being men.
Yep. God.
Feminism is not about hating men.
Says the one who doesn't want women to
Please
be equal to
view
men.
your other tweet. It's about
Girl,
challenging...
you're confused.
You're
Sorry,
confused
go on,
about
sorry.
your own fucking position. Feminism is not about hating men. It's about challenging the status quo and fighting for a world where women are liberated. We need to continue to fight for equality in all aspects of life, from the workplace to home. Let's keep fighting the good fight. So now equality isn't in quotes?
Oh. Interesting.
Is this a backpedal? Is this a backpedal?
That's a big backpedal. Feminism is not about hating men. Says the one who has been hating on Johnny Depp since the verdict came out.
And men victims.
And we can fucking back it. We can back it.
and men victims and women who are just doing their jobs just because they happen to be doing their job for a male victim.
God. David McGinnis from the live chat. Shesha was told starting a shelter for male victims is going to compete for funding with women shelters and was therefore hateful and therefore was hateful towards female victims. What the fuck is wrong with these people, seriously?
What asinine nonsense person said such an absurd thing?
Oh god. More shelters for victims?
More shelters for victims are a bad thing if they're not my kind of perfect victim. Aren't they complaining about Amber not being a perfect victim?
God. These fucking assholes don't even realize that Johnny Depp was the imperfect victim. He's rich, he's old, he's older than his spouse, right? He's got influence, you can say, in Hollywood.
He's got money, there's drug influence there, addiction issues.
Yeah, so he is the imperfect victim. He's the one. Amber tried to be the perfect victim. That's what she tried to do and failed miserably at. You assholes!
This case convinced me that Johnny Depp is in fact not an alcoholic.
No. And you know, if you look at the jurors'
not that I had that much of an opinion about it in the first place.
You know, that kind of tells me that how meticulous the jury was in their thinking. They said the drugs that Amber Heard was talking about, or the medication that Amber Heard was talking about, whatever they brought in the court, they're downers. They make you sleepy. Uncle Johnny was sleepy when he had them.
He's taking naps.
And that's when she took his picture. Yeah, he was taking little snooze and little naps. And she was taking pictures of Uncle Johnny while he was taking naps.
I love sleepy Uncle Johnny.
And they were like, you don't get violent with that. And that's what exactly my thing was. She was taking those pictures to try and control Depp by humiliating him. By telling him, look, this is how disgusting you are. She called him a monster.
I agree
when he tried to, like, go away, step away.
I agree with 95% of this tweet. The only thing I disagree with...
Yeah, but this is just...
This
is just lip service. This is a big backpedal. Where women are liberated. Yes, there are some parts of the world where women need that. But in US, you are way into that, girl.
Well,
and in UK also.
This is what we were talking about when we said if she's spending a lot of her time covering and studying the extreme cases of different countries, and then turns around and is utilizing that same perspective in a country that is not nearly as extreme or in as extreme of a situation, and framing it as if and treating those as if they're the same situation, that's where you just need to check yourself. You need to recombobulate and get your perspective back in a...
There can be only two things. Either if you're not doing this intentionally, then you're incompetent, and if you're doing this intentionally, then you're dishonest. Which is it? And I think so I can say this is not a false dichotomy that I'm presenting.
Yes.
If you're ignorant or you don't know how to do your job, then you're incompetent. You don't know how to separate the issues that are involved here. But if you're doing it on purpose, then you are dishonest. Simple as that.
Yeah, there's something to be said about it's not difficult. Humans are creatures of habit. It's very easy to get into a habit of rhetoric, or a habit of a worldview of the way you're kind of breaking down the way you think about things. And again, when you're looking at traumatic experiences such as mutilation, genital mutilation, and you're looking at things like the extreme treatment of, like, stoning women to death, killing them over quote unquote infidelity, etc., it's easy to get into the habit and start looking, when you turn your head to look the other way and you see a woman getting consequences for lying in court, and your thought is, oh, court woman equals execution, and you're responding to that because what you're used to looking at is this woman is going to be killed for this situation. I can understand the extreme response, but you have to take a step back from your work and understand that that's not what is happening here. Amber Heard was believed. If you think Amber was not believed and not given a fair shake, I don't know what to tell you, because if you look at what's happened,
then that's just dishonesty. That's just pure dishonesty. That's not even in the field of incompetency anymore. It's just you're being just straight up willfully being dishonest.
Well,
and you're being dishonest
not
only to the people around you, you're being dishonest to yourself. And you're doing a disservice to your research and your work if you're doing this.
I'm willing to give people the benefit of the doubt and say maybe they've only seen mainstream media. Because that's what mainstream media is telling them. So if they believe,
that's what I'm saying.
What they're saying,
haven't done their research.
Right, exactly.
Lazy.
And because of people like Proudman, if she is going to go around and she's going to make these kinds of statements, she becomes responsible for them.
Yep, and that's what I'm saying, Dr. Proudman.
I'm responsible for what I say here. If I get something wrong, I've got to go back and correct it. If I change my opinion on something, I want to follow through on that. Right?
Yep.
I went through.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
We went through with you guys to find out about this woman, what she covered, where her headspace was at, so that way we can grant context for where her point of view might be coming from. So we can give her as much charity as we possibly could.
And we even tried asking her if she would like to join us and back her shit up.
As somebody
we did everything.
As what her CV says she's been doing is that she's working in family divorce courts for children. We need to continue to fight for equality in all aspects for life. That means men being treated unfairly in the court system when it comes to whether or not they get access to their kids.
Yep.
The fact that some men will cancel a football player completely when he plays a few bad games, but when a player abuses a woman and worse, suddenly everybody deserves a second chance, it makes sense. This is a false dichotomy.
This is a false dichotomy, number one. And number two, this is, again, grouping every case together in one big whole group, not going case by case basis. If this was made in isolation and not during the fucking rant that she's having about Johnny Depp case, I would have taken it seriously. That it is a problem that when a player abuses a woman, they deserve a second chance. They don't lose their job or anything like that, which I still think is controversial. If the person is going through the system and getting charged and everything, then let the law take its course. But yes, men getting chances again and again. Because of the bullshit that they shouldn't be emotional. And that they are just like fucking puppets who have no emotion. This is what happens.
This is a very nuanced thing that she's brought in here, right? So, like, the fact that some men will cancel a football player completely when he plays a few bad games, that's not a man-exclusive thing. There are women who
No.
watch football who have the same kind of reaction that the men do in watching football. Why do I know this? I'm a woman who watches hockey once in a while and I lose my absolute mind. I cannot watch hockey for years and then put on a hockey game and I'll talk like I fucking know what's going on. Like, I'm Canadian. But there's a bit here that's like, but when a player abuses a woman and worse, whatever the fuck that means, suddenly everybody deserves a second chance. There's an issue in the NFL and in football that has to do with concussions and has to do with brain injury that the NFL does not want to address and has been avoiding addressing for decades. Decades. The aggression that happens with a lot of football players is not inherently drug abuse. Sometimes it's a matter of they have brain damage from all the concussions that they have from how aggressive the game can be. That is not that doesn't make it okay, but it means it's a different problem that needs to be addressed and it needs to be handled in that way. These are not fucking equally fucking comparable situations. If the player is able to get off scot-free because he has the money to pay for it, that's a classist issue, not a gender issue.
Yep.
This is an issue of how society puts football players on a pedestal while still treating them like shit because they don't get the medical help that they need and they're not being treated well by the companies that are the ones making all of the money off of their backs. And a lot of these players are very, very young when this starts. This is like, we're talking about high school kids. We're talking about...
They get scholarships. They get like... Their teachers are forced to give them passing grades so they can make it into college, make it into their classes, and all that shit. And then
and they have zero life skills because all they know is, I play football, I get hit head hard.
I make money.
Ouch.
And I make money. And I make money. And that's why you'll see a lot of these players, very rarely, these people are able to even manage their money. As soon as they get a big contract, they just go on a spending spree. And there's a very good YouTuber. His name is Spencer. I don't know his full name. Maybe I'll... Yeah, and he talks about how these newbies, these players, they come in and suddenly they get these big contracts and they don't know how to manage their money. And they just spend it all, and before you know it, they are back on bills, child support, and everything else. And again, there's this toxic culture of promoting these guys as some alpha males who should be surrounded by women all the time and should be sexually very, very prolific and active. There's that also. That's toxic patriarchy. That's patriarchy for you. Again, presenting men that they should be, these hyper alpha, like hyper sexualized. Football hyper sexualizes, hyper aggressive, hyper sexualizes everything that the players do. So, two very separate issues. And again, this chick does not know what she's talking about. And I doubt that she's done any research. Seriously, she's lazy. She's incompetent. And it's her fault. I'm just saying this.
This is a really fucking horrific comparison, in my opinion, because it's undermining both.
Yeah, and they're two very again, false dichotomy, as Chef said, and obfuscating two different topics together. I don't know what point are you trying to make here, girl. Seriously, I don't get it. I don't get it. Are you talking about the patriarchy? Then talk about the patriarchy. Make it specific. I don't get it. Like, that's what I'm saying. These people, they claim to be PhDs and their fucking tweets are like not even kindergarten level. Seriously.
The Deb v. Heard trial made it acceptable for men to jump on the misogynistic hate aimed at Amber, mocking her, ripping her apart through memes and parody videos, all because they saw so many women, some who even call themselves feminists, openly and happily mocking and troll her. Mock and troll Heard. What's the misogynistic about laughing at a liar?
Yeah, I don't.
You know what is misogynistic?
So is it
defending a liar based on their gender?
Exactly. And is it misandrous if we laugh at men who lie?
If we laugh at men or we mock men who hurt women, is it misandry then? I'm just saying, like, let's go both ways and check it out. Like, oh God.
The memes of the I stepped on a bee, that's not anything to do with her gender. That was just making fun of her, period. I don't know any of these. I haven't seen any of the TikTok or meme trains that were anything that had to do with specifically her gender. They were all just making fun of her for being a shitty person and being a bad liar and a shitty actor.
Now that's freedom of speech being used correctly.
Right, and parody. Those are not. They didn't depend on her being a woman to be funny.
Oh, here we go. There's this case of Brian Banks. Intrigued Feline asked me to look into it. He's an NFL player. California. I found this under California Innocence Project, and it says he was convicted of rape. He was sentenced for 6 years plus lifetime of registry as sex offender, and then he served for 5 years 2 months, and then he was exonerated on May 24th, 2012. And the cost of wrongful incarceration was 400,000, around 406,000 or something. And so it says here, a high school acquaintance, someone named Gibson, shattered that dream one fateful day after she accused Banks of rape and kidnapping following a consensual sexual encounter on the school campus. It was Banks' word against hers, and she was not likely to change her story. After all, Gibson sued the Long Beach Unified School District, claiming the school's lax security provided an unsafe environment that led to the fraudulent rape. She would eventually receive a settlement of $1.5 million. Brian Banks was faced with an impossible decision at the time: either fight the charges and risk spending 41 years to life in prison, or take a plea deal and spend a little over 5 years of actual prison confinement. This is also, I have a problem with the system, where the lawyers try to force their charges, if I might say, to go for a lower plea deal. I don't like that at all. I hate it when they do that. And although it would mean destroying his chance to go to college and play football, a lengthy probationary period, and a lifetime of registration as a sex offender, Banks chose the lesser of the two evils. Again, this is like a given an illusion of choice. There's no choice here. When he pleaded no contest to the charges. Nearly a decade after his conviction, Gibson recanted her statements and has acknowledged that she fabricated the whole story. The California Innocence Project presented this evidence of Banks' innocence to Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, who launched an investigation into the case. After a thorough review of the evidence, the District Attorney's Office conceded that Banks was wrongfully convicted. On Thursday, May 24, 2012, that was like after how many years? 5 years and 2 months, almost serving his whole sentence. Judge Mark C. Kim of Los Angeles Superior Court reversed Banks' conviction and ended his nightmare of wrongful conviction. And this girl got a settlement of $1.5 million from the Long Beach Unified School District.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. Stupid Whore Energy said, example is, but misogynists did jump on the bandwagon. Of course they did. For example, Hovind creationists are calling Cindy Lincoln Amber Turd. This is the thing. Whether or not it's applicable, right? Cindy has evidence that was posted by Kent Hovind that she was abused by him. It's not just her word. There's shit that backs up what she says.
Like Johnny Depp produced evidence and recordings of Amber Heard, what do you say? What do you
abusing him,
oh my God, I had a brain fart.
Abusing him, yelling at him, admitting to.
My brain went for a fart there.
There's an additional to it though as well, right? Like, yeah, misogynists are gonna latch on to shit like Amber Turd, and whose fault is that?
Whose fault is that?
Amber's fault.
She's the one.
She is the one making it worse for victims because she fucking lied.
And
she's the one making it worse for women because she fucking lied.
You lie!
And women like Dr. Charlotte and Michelle Dauber.
Right. Who
they're
are
also
perpetuating the
yes.
problem.
Girl, talk about Streisand effect. Have you heard of Streisand effect?
Also, Amber Turd,
I was like-
not misogynistic as alone. Will people utilize it? Of course they will. Shitty people are going to be shitty people.
Of course. Yeah.
But who's
People
enabling the
making
shitty
claims that-
people?
Yeah. That's another thing.
Men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them. Margaret Atwood. Do you want to know what year this was set in?
Yeah.
Would we like some context?
Yeah. Oh wow. There we go.
Do we get a year?
When was this?
I need a year. God damn it. Because Margaret Atwood has been around for quite some time.
Yeah. Maybe look for Margaret Atwood quotes year or something like that.
Nineteen 68 to night. Oh no, that's her spouse. Age, she's currently 82 years old, lives in Ottawa. Let's see if I type in when, if it'll come up. Wiki quote.
I really would like to know, like, who's backing Good Morning America to give Amber Heard a platform to talk about all this bullshit. Because if she repeats a lie on their platform, they might make themselves part of an injunction or litigation. I'm just wondering. Intrigue Feline, help me out.
I haven't been able to fully track down the source of this quote, but I have been able to dig up various references to it. So I wanted to share them here. Most commonly, the quote is phrased, men are afraid that women will laugh at them, women are afraid men will kill them. However, various other phrasings are also found. Novelist Margaret Atwood writes, when she asked a male friend why men feel threatened by women, he answered, they are afraid women will laugh at them. When she asked a group of women why they felt threatened by men, they said, we're afraid of being killed, from 1996, published on PBS.
That was how many years ago now? 28? No, 26. 26 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, we can be available on Discord after this show. So yeah, become a member or a Patreon to get access to that Discord. Links in the description down below, as well as on screen right up there. Hey.
And be ready. Shesh gets trolled a lot in there. It's her Discord apparently, but she gets trolled.
I get trolled harder in my own Discord than anybody has trolled me literally ever. Honestly, don't know if true. That tradition, didn't I? So first off, this lawyer doctor's quote is incorrect and unverified, and is talking about general sentiment of a population, doesn't speak to the truth of the matter, and honestly, I don't know if true words. There are more references going back all the way to 1982. Yeah, I wanted to pick the earliest one, but...
Yeah. The thing is that there are some men also who are out there who are afraid that women will falsely accuse them. Brian Banks' case, as Intrigued Feline brought up quite aptly. This is an example.
Yeah, there's... The general sentiment of society is going to be a societal problem. An individual thing is not going to fix that. I've had people asking and talking about whether or not the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial will change anything. And the answer is on its own, no. And on its face, it's probably not going to change what you think initially. It's not going to change the system and the way the system handled this case. It's not going to change whether or not the case itself isn't going to change whether or not women or men feel more or less comfortable coming forward. What's going to change is people's view of the media and whether or not the media is able to fearmonger the media and people like Dr. Charlotte Proudman who are profiting and profiteering off of the situation to bolster and clout chase to get themselves to.
Look at the likes and the quote tweets and retweets she's getting.
Well, even besides that, this is something that is she's utilizing and weaponizing people's fear against them to bolster herself. Should women, the real question here from this kind of a quote is, should women be afraid of men, and has men's fear of women changed? Those are the questions you need to be asking as of 2022. Are men afraid of more? What is the current climate? And is it accurate?
You need to come. Yeah.
And if it's not accurate,
Charlotte, you need to come.
Why?
Mania, quote tweets, maybe debunking tweets. Okay. Also, Dr. Charlotte, you need to come to the present. Stop living in the past, please. Please, I beg of you.
We come in a full.
I don't know.
Even if the quote tweets are debunking her, it's still giving her the exposure, right? We've come in full circle. We spoke up about the abuse of men against women during the hashtag Meet, during the Met, like the Met Gala. I don't know if it means the Met Gala or she just misspelled Me Too. We shone a light on the prevalence of male violence and the silencing of women. Just 5 years later, and women are sued for huge sums of money by their abuser for daring to speak out.
You lie! You lie!
This guy is unfucking believable.
That's all I have to say about that. Manya, you got anything?
Dr. Charlotte, stop obfuscating things, please. Stop mixing topics, and please, for the love of God, stop proving to everyone that PhDs are not researchers at all. They're just bullshitting.
But women,
that's what
women can't lie about abuse. She's definitely not lying about an abuse case right now, right? That's not a woman lying about an abuse situation.
That's not defamation, right? That's not defamation.
No?
Yeah.
Hey,
with malice.
Quick question for those involved. Could this be any more misrepresentative of what has happened over the past 6 years?
For 6 years, Amber Heard was a spokesperson for ACLU. She was a spokesperson for L'Oreal, and she was charging $30K per speech on domestic violence issues and stuff. And she was part of a fucking whole thing with Michelle Dauber and stuff. She got the platform. She got all the platforms that usually, and all the privileges that a white woman in her privileged role gets. And it's funny how truth can blow all that away and cause havoc and chaos in the life of a liar and a narcissist, and in the lives of people who have backed this liar and narcissist. Just look at Dr. Proudman, look at Michelle Dauber, how desperately they're trying to uphold the skeleton of image that's left behind after the fucking holy burning of the defamation trial of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Oh, here we go, guilt by association. Oh yeah, because they try to buy a history's memory, like a memorabilia from a from a period of history. For some reason, they're what?
Well, obviously they're
pro-Nazi. association.
No. They're totally pro-Nazis because they tried to buy the gun that killed Hitler.
No, hold on. It says Hitler's gun. Or was it the gun that killed Hitler?
Hitler shot himself.
Oh! Oh my god.
We've on full Godwin's law, guys. No, this is not that. Well, it is orange juice, but there's
Dr. Proudman,
at least two
I
other
refuse
ingredients.
to call her doctor. I refuse to call her doctor. She's Charlotte for me from now on. And seriously, shame on you. Seriously, shame on you. This is the level you have stooped to while backing the skeleton of Amber Heard's reputation and credibility.
The duo the duo has interesting hobbies, as you can imagine, that have led them to search for particular objects in the past. Manson once revealed one of their rather odd requests on purchasing an item. In a 2015 conversation with Rolling Stone, Marilyn Manson reflected on his friendship with Johnny Depp and revealed that they had once tried to buy the gun that killed Hitler himself. That Hitler killed himself with. Furthermore, the duo had similar habits in their daily life, such as not going to sleep unless the TV is on. It seems that they have learned so much about each other they stayed in each other's houses. You're trying to present this as if it's some kind of nefarious supporting of fucking Nazis, and it's just not. Even this article, isn't that bad. This article is fine.
No,
this bitch.
I don't know what's.
PSA for those who still don't get it, buying Nazi memorabilia is a red flag and not someone you should look up to. I thought we were all in agreement about that. What, you don't think people should support?
No, you're not in agreement about that. Hell.
You don't think that you should try to buy the gun that killed Hitler?
I would buy it if I could afford it. I would buy it. I was like, look, this shit killed Hitler. Oh my god.
Smitty out here, if you buy Hitler's gun, then Hitler's spirit will possess you and make you kill teenagers at Makeout Point. Turkey Point.
Sorry.
Amber Heard says she fears Johnny Depp will sue her again.
You know?
He probably should.
Hold on. You know who bought a weapon for their aggressor while claiming that they're afraid of the aggressor? Amber Heard. She bought Johnny Depp a knife that said, "Till death." Till death!
I like how creepy that is in context.
Yeah.
I would not appreciate
a gun that ended the war.
I would not appreciate somebody who, like, if I was with somebody who was abusing me and they gave me a gun or gave me a knife that said "until death." Like, that would be kind of, like, for my birthday, kind of creepy.
Yeah. And Smitty from the live chat is saying, what if you buy Old West memorabilia? Memorabilia? Does that mean you support Native genocide? It's a historical artifact. Exactly.
Yo, okay, but hear me out. Amber says she fears Johnny Depp will sue her again. She probably should be afraid of that if she keeps fucking making shit up.
I wonder why.
So let's listen to Dr. Proudman's take on this. Depp
No, she's Charlotte. She's Charlotte. She's not doctor.
Let's see what Little Miss Spider has to say about this. Depp allegedly promised Heard that he would make her think of him every day. Citation needed. Every day, yep. She's probably worried that if she says one word about domestic abuse, she'll be sued. Really? Because if she was that worried about it, why is she going on shows?
Again, false dichotomy, or I would say false obfuscation here, because she can talk about domestic abuse. She just can't defame Johnny.
She can't even.
She can talk about the topic.
She can't even speak about a judge finding Depp to be a wife beater. Again, on a citation needed.
She is speaking. She went on an interview on GMA. Again, what the fuck are you talking about?
What? I'm scared that no matter what I do, no matter what I say or how I say it, I will present another opportunity for silencing. You literally won't shut the fuck up!
Yeah. I don't know what she's trying to do. Is she asking Johnny Depp to sue her again? Some people are telling me that this is some kind of narcissism where she wants to stay connected with Johnny or Johnny to stay in her life in some way. So this is just going on a rampage, self-sabotage. And I'm just like, is someone that blinded by narcissism?
I want a citation about where Johnny said that about her, because that's definitely something she said about him.
Yeah.
And
she
is probably worried, and that...
Or worried.
She's probably worried that could be the case, and she can't even speak about the judge finding Depp to be a wife beater, because that's not what that court was about. And now you're actually in your field. That was a UK court. You ought to know better, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, seriously. You don't talk about courts being unfair? You had a perfect opportunity, but for some reason you failed to deliver.
Well, yeah, you had the perfect opportunity to fucking put all this shit forward, and you failed. So how about maybe, Dr. Proudman, if you want to make things
properly.
Well, if you want to make things better for women, and you want to make things better for domestic abuse victims, and you want to make things like the system better at handling this kind of stuff, then talk about the system and show where the system failed so we could rectify it. Because villainizing an individual does not fix the problem.
Nope.
Surprise, surprise, Depp is back in court for maliciously and forcefully punching a man twice in his ribs before saying he'd pay someone $1,000 to punch him in the face. Yeah, that's already been debunked by witnesses that were there. Yeah. So she is taking already debunked shit and trying to use that to justify this.
Are you trying to get sued or something? Are you trying to get sued or something?
Or is that what you're trying to do? Or maybe she's trying to tie unrelated cases together.
Yeah,
because the thing is even if he did punch some guy, doesn't mean he beat his wife. Sorry.
Nope. Case by case basis on each case's merit, on the merit of each case. Charlotte, I thought you knew, but I guess I'm scared what kind of laws you're looking into and propping up, and how many loopholes those laws might have. Seriously.
Okay. A victim of domestic abuse is compared to murderers. They won't stop until she is in prison or no longer here. How do I explain the sheer hatred of victims to my clients?
Because it's not hatred of victims, it's hatred of abusers. Again, you are falsely equating to
what
victim? What fucking victim?
And side note, this is an abuser getting compared to other abusers.
Yeah.
So how do I explain the sheer hatred of victims to my clients? Well, first you'd have to be able to, demonstrate that that's the case. But secondly, you should do that as like a professional to say, like, listen, not everybody, like here's the answer. Like an adult. That's how.
Yeah.
Stop treating women and victims like they're fucking children.
As infants. Don't treat them as infants, for fuck's sake. Also, Charlotte, you're doing a big disservice to your victims if this is what you're going to talk to them about and represent it as. You're doing a big disservice to your victims, and your conduct should be investigated, because I don't know how many victims you have silenced with that rhetoric. For fuck's sake. And Michelle Dauber, I don't know how many victims these two women have silenced using that bullshit, because they're fucking lazy at their job. Basic bitches being lazy.
Stupid Horror Energy for $4.99 said, take my money. Intrigue Feline says, Charlotte the charlatan. I'm here for that.
Ooh.
So she retweeted this tweet, which is Dr. Jessica Taylor. We're gonna get another
doctor. My God.
I don't mean to maybe hint at what we may or may not be covering next time. But I'm gonna hint at what we may or may not be covering next time. Oh, hey, look who's there.
Yay!
It's the female dating strategy. The female dating strategy got kicked off of Reddit for being too hateful, right? The entire subreddit got removed for fucking being a bunch of dicks.
Oh, wow.
That was a whole drama. All right. right, let's wrap up and
Here
get us out of
we go
here.
again.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time. This has been Dumb Fekk Friday. I appreciate everybody who super chatted. I appreciate it if you became a member, and I appreciate it if you decide to join the Patreon link down below. We'll be following up on a little bit of this in the Discord, so we will see you over there. If you are a member or you are a Patreon, you do get access to that Discord, so consider joining us for some further conversations.
Join the shenanigans.
And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Oh my god. I'm gonna like facepalm. Oh my goodness. Here we go again.
This guy is